Okay, so I hope that you guys enjoyed that. It's something new that I'm going to be doing on these particular types of readings that are not sign specific, but are just based on getting insight and answers to a specific emotional state or a specific question. Um, so, for this one, as you know from the title, this is to answer the question of whether or not you should respond, implying that you have been contacted by someone and you're looking for insight into whether or not you should actually respond to that communication. So, if that is not your particular situation, then this reading might still hold answers for you if you want to watch it. But I did just want to specify again that the purpose of this reading, as I was actually getting the cards to come out, was to answer the question of whether or not you should respond. So, I did show you this at the end, but I just wanted to show it again. Um, you got the Great Gathering from one of the Oracle decks. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits Soul Tribe. So I will say that energetically, what I'm getting from this is that you already have an intuitive hunch about what you should do in the situation. And with this card coming out and speaking directly to Soul Tribe, I will say that, I do feel that soul tribes are very special, and they are things that do lead us to have moments where we feel very intense, deep connections with other people, and we recognize them as being souls that we've had many experiences with, many lifetimes with, that we've incarnated in different roles with. With that being said, just because someone is a member of your soul tribe doesn't necessarily mean that you have to extend to them any sort of response. In fact, it could be that as part of the soul commitment you two have with each other, you might actually be, your end of the bargain, so to speak, might be to not respond to them, and to make them realize that it takes a little bit more to get you to actually, you or anyone else, to actually re-engage after what might have been something that was extremely painful. Before we move into the actual cards here, there were several other oracle cards that came out. I'm just going to start with these because I actually have really been having really great readings just by utilizing these to get into the energy of what, the person watching this video, whoever you might be, hello, just getting into your energy. So here, I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. This card came out in a reading I was doing the other night. I don't remember what sign it was, but again, I said something very similar in that video, though, in that sometimes we convince ourselves that we don't know what we should do, or that we should do one thing, when in fact, we do know what we need to do, and maybe it's something that we're avoiding. So a lot of times I think people might read this card and feel it as representing something like tenacity or perseverance. I do whatever it takes in order to get close to consciousness. But the way that I take this card as a reader is that you're willing to do whatever it takes, even if that's something that doesn't fit with what you think you should do or necessarily what you want to do. Okay, so I do interpret this card just a little bit differently, but this is the energy that I'm feeling from this card again, same as in the other reading. I am the dreamer of my dream. I think you guys can see that one because the font's pretty big. I'll talk a little bit more about that one in a second, but I want to get to this one, which says, "Thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perceptions so that I can see what is of the highest good." Now, these two cards I want to talk about a little bit in combination. So the first part here is this notion of once you see beyond the fear, and I'm going to add in as well the pain of a situation, once you see past the sadness and you get yourself beyond those initial feelings, if you can reach a place where you realize that what you have experienced, what you have endured and gone through and survived was actually something that you created, you manifested in some way. Now, this is not to say that anyone deserves anything. I'm not talking about karmic, like, well, you made it happen, you got what you deserved. It's on a soul level, there was something that you wanted to learn, something that you wanted to understand, some sort of knowledge or insight into the human experience that you as a soul wished to experience and understand. And so that experience has helped to expand your knowledge and your perception. And it's allowing you to actually see what is of the highest good, not only for yourself, but with this other person. Okay? Now, the last oracle card coming out says, "My capacity to tune into the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost." Okay, so all of these cards so far for me very powerfully are pointing to your own need to know when is when. Okay, so this card especially, when I'm ready, when it's time. Okay, this card speaks to you will know when is the right time to act in the way that you feel, that you already know is probably the best way for you to respond here. Now, what I will say is, doing this reading right now, I feel that it's pretty evenly split right now between people who feel like they absolutely should reach out and people who feel like they absolutely should not. What I'm curious about is, for the people who watch this, I'm wondering if you would be willing to just say in the comments, keep note right now of whether you're in "I don't want to reach out" or "I do want to reach out." And let me know in the comments whether that stays or whether that changes once we get through the reading. I'm really curious about that, because right now, energetically, you guys feel about 50-50. Like, I can feel some of you going, I knew I should reach out. And some of you going, thank God, because I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. I don't have to go through this again. So I'm going to start the actual reading portion here. I'm just going to move some of these cards down because I want to talk about these two cards that came out together. Let's see if we can get them in there. So we have the Magician coming out with the Queen of Cups, and she is reversed. For the person listening to me right now, the person who's hearing my voice, I feel very much that you are this Queen of Cups reversed. There are a couple of things I want to say about this card in particular. The first is that I feel that you were quite dependent upon this magician. Not necessarily financially, it's not that sort of dependence, but very emotionally dependent upon this person. If this magician had come out reversed, it would take me down a completely different path if I felt that same energy of being dependent, because when the magician is reversed, it indicates someone who is manipulative and can be controlling. So I could understand it. But this magician has come out upright. And when this magician comes out upright, this is just someone who's very powerful and someone who is they're resourceful. They're able to manifest things that they need. They lead a life and they have a life that they are happy with, that they feel matches what they want. They are someone who really, they decide they want something, they're going to get it, whatever it takes. Well, that's interesting. Whatever it takes. That's the energy of this person for sure. And I think that for the person listening to me, you were very drawn to this. And it was because you felt like this was something that you did not understand, something that you don't necessarily possess within yourself. And so this person was very fascinating to you, thinking about how they look at the world and just even how they move about in the world, and seeing the fact that they are so, they were inspiring to you. But that intimidated you in a way. And so it led you to really have to confront some deep, uncomfortable feelings inside yourself. And when you became aware of this dependency, I do feel like you sort of tried to cut off the emotional connection as a means of canceling out or stopping that dependence. But this emotional dependence still exists, even though I do feel like this person has been a bit removed. The emotional connection still exists. I say this because this card here, this is the Eight of Cups, and it came out reversed. So there's a lot of indecision here. There is that classic energy of do I try again or do I walk away? And right now it just feels almost like a, what are those things called, like a metronome. If you know what a metronome is, if you ever took music lessons, that's what it feels like to me. Like I should just have this card. If I could make this card just keep doing this on its own, I would, because it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're very confused. The person listening to me right now is very confused. Now, you had Justice come out reversed, and that came out with the Star card. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. So Justice reversed is the card that speaks to dishonesty, things that aren't fair. It can represent someone not suffering the consequences of something they did, not being held accountable. The Star card, this is a card of hope and faith. It's a card which represents emotional healing, the rebuilding of trust, of a connection. It's a very hopeful card. These cards are the manifestation of this. I feel like when you feel that you should walk away, it is very much with this energy, this Justice reversed energy. Of course I should walk away. They have never really apologized. They've never said that they understand why what they did hurt so much. They're just back because there's this whole energy around it, okay? But then it swings back this way, and then you're over here with this. But maybe the fact that they've reached out, maybe there's hope that they maybe they do understand, and maybe I need to give this another chance. It's this Eight of Cups going back and forth is what this energy is. So I'm really curious because the other card that came out from this deck was the Two of Coins, and it came out reversed. And this card just represents being overly committed and reprioritizing things. I feel that this card came out almost as an advice card in saying to you, this has to be something that's balanced. This has to be a two-way street. So this connection has to feel like it is going both ways fairly, which would mean that the listener, the person listening to me, would need to be able to flip this Queen of Cups back around. Because the Queen of Cups, when she's upright, is very compassionate and caring and very emotionally stable. And this would be the state that you would be in if you could forgive and move beyond this. Okay, but if you stay in this situation, then this is not a match. So it's really up to you whether you feel that you can manage to let this go, basically, and to forgive. Keep in mind, it's landing on the energy of the star. That's what is required. It's having this Eight of Cups connect to that star energy and stay there. Instead of being here and going back and forth, have it actually connect to that. Okay? Hoping that makes sense. But with this Two of Coins, this looking at the level of commitment, what you're putting in, what you're getting out, reprioritizing how much of a focus this is for you, how much energy you're putting onto this. Let's talk about the other cards because I wanted to get some clarifying cards about that Two of Coins that came out. So the first card, you had the World, which came out reversed. Again, this just speaks to something not being complete, to there not being closure, for it, being a little bit delayed, continuing forward. Okay, so it's going to take you some time. It's going to take you some time before you know for sure what you want to do. Because here's my advice, I guess. If you know that you can't manage to get this Eight of Cups to connect fully to the Star card, then you're stuck in this World energy. Okay, so the energy here is saying if you look at how things are and you look at reprioritizing this and you're trying to pay attention to how this person is responding to you and how you're responding to them, if you realize that you're still stuck in this and you're going to be going back and forth, or you're getting stuck here in the justice, you have to just basically let this person go. And the way of doing that is really just not to respond. Okay? If, however, you feel that you can have this Queen turn around and you feel like that's the truth of the situation, then you should actually reach out to this person. Now, you have the Sun card. It did come out reversed. In these situations, for these types of readings, I really don't let the Sun card become too negative. I will say that what I feel from this is just a cautionary piece of advice, really, from Spirit, is to not make these choices, to not contemplate this from a place where you're very depressed, nor from a place where you're too optimistic. Try to be very realistic about this. Try to look at it from as clear of a place mentally and emotionally as you can manage to get into. And I say that because this is the last card that came out, and it came out just like this, sideways. And this Six of Swords, I'm really going to look at this as it being about a 50-50 shot. And I'm going to pull an Oracle card to basically try to maybe be a tiebreaker. But I felt from the beginning with you guys that it's really about 50-50. That's why I was saying at the beginning, when this card came out sideways, I wanted to know how many of you still felt the same here at the end as you did at the beginning. So if you could just leave me comments and let me know insight on that, I would just really appreciate it because I'm so curious. But let's talk about this card. So if this card had come out like this, if it had come out upright, then I would be saying that this is a transition for you. You're going to be able to release the burden and all the baggage from the past, and there will be change, but it would be change in the form of a transition, which for me usually feels very positive. If this card had come out like this, then in this place, I would say that you're going to be too resistant to changing how you feel about the situation. Getting that queen to turn upside down is going to be too difficult, because there's too much stuff that you feel is left unfinished. So you can't just let it all go and move forward. There are things that you still feel have to be dealt with and spoken about and resolved. And because of that, you can't just move forward. That queen has to stay as it is. And for this magician, this isn't necessarily going, like, they are looking for a clean slate. For them, they're saying, you know what, even though there is stuff that we haven't talked about, that we haven't dealt with, I just want to move forward. I just want to be done with it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to rehash the past. I just want a clean slate, start over. We move on from everything, and it's in the past, and we don't take it with us. That's what this magician wants. So if you're in this place and you're still like this, and that queen doesn't flip, and you don't flip this over to this type of energy, then this magician isn't interested in rehashing all of that stuff. They're just not. Okay? So I'm going to go back to this oracle deck. I'm just going to go through and see if anything wants to come out for you guys. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to subscribe. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Again, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments about this, just what you think, what resonated, whether you liked this reading or not. Trying some different things in terms of readings. We have one card that came out. I'm going to go through a few more times. There's one more. Actually, let's just take these. Okay, so this is actually the name of this oracle deck, in case you were curious. So The Universe Has My Back is the name of this oracle deck itself, and you got that card. So here's what I'll say about this. Okay, you will get guidance and insight through your own intuition if you're willing to listen, because the universe is actually trying to guide you on this. They're really trying to help you to see what the best move is. And again, as I said at the very top, with this card, right, with this soul tribe, remember, you actually have lots of guides and angels who are actually trying to communicate with you about this. Okay, so the universe does have your back. Here's the other card that came out. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. And I want to just say that I love that this is the last card that's come out for you guys, because this is true. And this is one of the things that I've learned over the past year really solidly and vividly, is that if I think that someone is going to hurt me, if I think that something's not going to go well, if I believe that you know, there's something that I don't know, or someone's up to something, well, I'm manifesting that reality. And as scary as it is, you know, I want to go back to this card to wrap this up with you guys. I want to go back to this one, because I think these two cards together are just exactly what you need to hear. Okay, so if I'm going about things expecting the worst, I'm going to get those things. They're going to show up to prove me right, basically. So as scary as it is, I need to be able to tune into the energy of love. I need to be able to use my words to speak up. I need to show compassion, to know when it's time to forgive. Sorry, guys. I can feel it, like, let me get some water. Like, instantly, you guys, like, all wanted to just, like, choke up. Not, I don't know if that's emotional choking up, or if it's just like you don't want to have to say these things, but so here's the thing. The power that you need when you're lost is to remember that what you're experiencing outwardly in your life, it's reflecting what is going on internally within you. And just know that the universe does have your back. Okay? So, again, with this, in terms of whether or not you should reach out, I feel like that's really still up to you. It's always up to you. I hope that this reading did give you some insight, or helped you to feel confident in what your instincts are telling you, because that's really where I feel that you should put your focus, is what you feel inside, what your gut is telling you to do, and to trust that you are being led and you are being advised. As long as you can know that you can say to yourself honestly that you are connected to your intuition, to those spiritual messages, to that divine guidance, then follow that, because they are working to help you to understand what the best move is, and to also connect to the feeling of why that is the best move for you to make. So I hope that you appreciated this. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. Again, if you liked this reading, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend or family member, leave me a comment because I love hearing from you guys. And that's it. Good luck with this, and let me know what you decided to do. Okay, bye guys.